These are the headlines that we're following at this hour. Shortly after President Yoon Suk Yeol showed his intent to talk to the protesting doctors himself, he sat down with the head of a trainee doctor group today. But after the talks, the group said there's no future for South Korea's medical system. U.S. President Joe Biden is inviting Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for a state visit next week. North Korea issues and military cooperation are likely to top their agenda. With warm spring weather here in Korea, cherry blossoms are blooming across the nation. We went out to see where they're in full bloom. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. Earlier this afternoon, President Yoon Suk Yeol met with the head of the country's Trainee Doctors Association amid their walkout continuing for the 7th week. The presidential office said Yoon listened closely to what trainee doctors had to say. But after the talks, the group expressed their disappointment. Our Lee Si-hoo starts us off.
Talks in Seoul on Thursday between President Yoon Suk Yeol and the Korean Intern and Resident Association lasted for a little over 2 hours. Afterward, the presidential office said in a written statement that the president listened closely to the opinions of trainee doctors delivered by Park Dan, the head of KIRA. Yoon's office said that Park explained in detail about the poor working conditions experienced by trainee doctors, and the two exchanged opinions regarding the issue. The office also said the president will respect the opinions of trainee doctors in future discussions with the medical field about medical reforms. Park posted on social media after the meeting that there is no future for medicine in South Korea, but did not elaborate further. This follows President Yoon's public address on the issue earlier this week, where he highlighted his will to speak with the doctors. South Korea is nearly 50 days into a collective walkout by doctors in training, protesting the government's plans for medical reform and an increase in the country's total medical school enrollment quota by 2,000 a year, beginning with 2025 admissions. In mid-February, the Trainee Doctors Association released a statement demanding the government withdraw its plan, saying that they would limit public access to quality medical services. But the government has stood firm, saying that South Korea will need an additional 15,000 doctors by the year 2035. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
U.S. President Joe Biden will host Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for a state visit next week. They're expected to discuss an array of topics from joint defense equipment production to North Korea issues. Her Kim Do-yeon reports.
U.S. and Japan are expected to strengthen military cooperation as U.S. President Joe Biden hosts Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for a state visit in Washington, D.C. next week. Kishida said in an interview with Japanese newspapers Hankei on Thursday that to enhance security operations, Japan and the U.S. are discussing strengthening coordination related to command and control, but clarified that it's about coordination and does not mean a joint command between the U.S. and Japan. Also, according to Kurt Campbell, the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State earlier on Wednesday in D.C., the upcoming summit will be, quote, historic for the updating of the U.S.-Japan security partnership. Speaking at a think tank in D.C., he added there will be steps for the first time that will allow the U.S. and Japan to work more collaboratively on joint development and potentially co-production of vital military and defense equipment. John Kirby, White House National Security Communications Advisor, on Wednesday morning as well, said the state visit is expected to also touch on the Camp David Summit members. He said, quote, opportunities to talk about how we can continue not only our bilateral cooperation with Japan, but our trilateral cooperation between Japan and South Korea. He also said, quote, there will be issues to talk about in terms of the security environment, concerns about the DPRK, concerns about aggressive PRC actions. In the meantime, Kishida also brought up his plans to utilize the opportunity to bring up his efforts to sit down with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and discuss the abduction issue, saying Biden has shown interest in cooperating to help resolve the issue. Kishida said, quote, "Based on the common understanding that the door to dialogue with North Korea is open, we will reconfirm this closely with the U.S. and also work closely with the trilateral partnership, including South Korea." Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Korea's new homegrown 3,000-ton submarine, the Shin Chae-ho, was delivered to the Navy earlier on this Thursday morning. Shin Chae-ho is one of the key forces of South Korea's kill chain system aimed at countering a North Korean nuclear attack. It's the third and final submarine of KSS, the third batch 1, following the Dosan Anchang-ho and Anmu. Like its earlier counterparts, it is capable of firing ballistic missiles. South Korea hopes the submarine will not only strengthen national security, but also become a leading player in arms exports. In Taiwan, the aftermath of a powerful earthquake continues to unfold. At least 10 people have been killed and more than 1,000 have been injured. Rescue efforts are underway. Our Song Yoo-jin has the details.
Taiwan's biggest earthquake in a quarter of a century has led to at least 10 deaths and injured over 1,000 people. The 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck Wednesday morning just south of the rural and thinly populated city of Hualien on the eastern coast of the island. According to Taiwan's fire department on Thursday evening, the number of injured people has climbed to 1,050, with 38 individuals still unaccounted for. 50 hotel workers bound for a resort in Taroko National Park have finally been found, trapped on the cross-island highway linking Hualien to the west coast, with video footage showing the staff waving from the side of the road. Despite the challenges posed by collapsed buildings and more than 300 aftershocks hitting the region, some progress is being made in terms of recovery and rescue efforts. A group of 26 workers was successfully located and a helicopter airlifted 6 individuals stranded in a mining area to safety. The railway line to Hualien also resumed operations earlier than anticipated, though a rural station north of Hualien City remains shuttered due to structural damage. But the authorities expect the aftershocks to continue to rattle the country, with more than 40 of magnitude 4 or higher striking the east coast as of Thursday afternoon. Taiwanese officials warned aftershocks as high as magnitude 7 may be felt until the end of the week. Experts are saying that the damage has been relatively contained considering the size of the seismic event, with the island being no stranger to earthquakes as it sits on the Ring of Fire, a line of faults known for high levels of seismic and volcanic activity. Taiwan is therefore said to be well prepared for such events, with the government continuously revising its standards for quake resistance required of new and existing buildings and carrying out widespread education campaigns on earthquake safety. With the first 72 hours considered the golden time for rescue operations, the authorities are continuing to conduct search and rescue operations. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News.
On the local front, President Yoon Suk Yeol has called for further government action to enhance household finance as well as that of small businesses. The call was made earlier on this Thursday at yet another review session of the government's policy briefings open to the public, and this time the focus was on broader economic matters. With regard to efforts already in place, the president highlighted the opportunity to shift to lower interest loan plans offered to individuals and small businesses, as well as the chance for the latter to refinance their debt obligations. One of South Korea's leading semiconductor producers, SK Hynix, has unveiled its plan to inject billions of dollars to open a chip packaging plant and a research facility in the U.S. state of Indiana. Our business correspondent, Lee Soo-jin, has details.
South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix is building its first U.S. semiconductor packaging plant in the state of Indiana. The company announced on Wednesday local time that it will invest $3.8 billion into building the advanced packaging plant, as well as a research and development facility for AI products such as high bandwidth memory chips. The world's second largest memory chip maker will also collaborate with researchers from Purdue University, which is located in Indiana, as well as other research institutions. This comes as the company has been looking for places within the United States to build chip manufacturing plants amid the growing demand for advanced AI chips like HBMs that are used to power generative AI models such as ChatGPT. The Biden administration announced in 2022 that it will provide subsidies to boost U.S. competitiveness in the chip market, with a total of $39 billion set aside for companies that build chip manufacturing plants in the U.S. And according to industry sources, SK Hynix has already applied for a share. The company said it decided to build its first U.S. packaging facility in Indiana because of advanced engineering research at Purdue University and the state's robust manufacturing infrastructure and support. Mass production of AI memory products is expected to begin at the plant in the second half of 2028. And according to SK Hynix, production and R&D facilities are expected to create more than 1,000 new jobs in the region. The chip maker not only has the largest share of the global HBM market, but is also the sole supplier of HBM3 chips to NVIDIA, which leads the AI chip market with an 80% share. SK Hynix already announced that it began shipments of the latest 5th generation HBM3E at the end of last month, with some of the initial shipments going to NVIDIA. But SK Hynix will not just be focusing on overseas investment, as it will continue with its domestic investment plans, which include a project worth nearly $90 billion to build a semiconductor cluster in Yongin, a city located on the southern outskirts of Seoul. 이수진, Arirang News.
South Korean experts will participate in the restoration and maintenance of Cambodia's Angkor Wat Buddhist temple complex, a UNESCO World Heritage. The Korea Cultural Heritage Foundation said on Thursday it had reached an agreement with the Apsara National Authority, a government organization of Cambodia, adding that Korean specialists will repair and restore the northeast part of the Bakan Tower within the temple complex by 2026. This is a follow-up measure after a related MOU was signed between the two organizations in February. South Korea is the 5th country to participate in the restoration project at Angkor Wat after Germany, Japan, Italy, and the US. Moving our focus to the climate issue here in Korea. With unstable weather, the price of apples has skyrocketed this year. This changing climate is also set to affect apple harvest in the long term. Our An Sung-jin went out to how farms are looking to adapt.
Apples in South Korea are the most expensive in the world. According to Numbeo, an online database which measures consumer prices, apples in South Korea are about $6.82 a kilo, which is much higher than the price of apples in the US or Japan. With the sudden change in the temperature, apple flowers died out before blossoming, leading to a drop in the amount of apples harvested last year and a surge in apple prices. Due to climate change, temperatures have been rising, and according to the Environment Ministry, South Korea has seen a temperature rise of 1.6 degrees compared to 110 years ago. This is higher than the world average temperature rise of 1.09 degrees. As a result, the most suitable environment for growing apples has been moving northward up the peninsula from the southern provinces. Farms have been adapting to this change by integrating technology. This is one of the country's first smart farms located in Andong, Gyeongsang-mukdo Province. Funded by the Agricultural Ministry, it uses ICT tools and AI technology to monitor individual farms and prevent damage to apples from pests.
Using my phone app, I can easily control the farm's environment. With the AI camera, I get to monitor the growth of apples, detect pests, and prevent frost.
These farms also have their own smart irrigation and fertilization system, which controls the amount of water used. The control center gathers weather data such as humidity and land temperature and tracks the plants and analyzes them for any issues over time.
We provide farms with the necessary data. However, it's the individual farms that make the final decision on what to do. It's important that we continue to expose the rural population to the concept of smart farming.
The government is also addressing the change in harvesting conditions for apples by developing new apple varieties.
We're working on cultivating different varieties of apples, such as those with good coloring, green and yellow apple varieties, and those apples that can grow well despite temperature changes during the flowering season. To maintain efficient productivity, harvesting apples with machines and automation will become more common.
Land that is suitable to grow apples is diminishing, but smart farms like these allow apples to be harvested despite the changing environment. Now, this smart farm, empty at the moment, is expected to see flowers blossom by the end of April and apples to be harvested between October and November. 안성진 Arirang News, Andong.
Spring is here and the cherry blossoms have finally bloomed flowers from their buds. Our Choi Soo-hyung was out and about in capital Seoul to share some of the beautiful scenes.
The scent of spring has returned. This year, many people have been waiting for the cherry blossoms to bloom. It was expected that this would happen about a week earlier than last year, starting around mid-March. But the weather at the time, including sudden cold snaps and spring rain showers, delayed the blossoms. As a result, they actually bloomed 4 to 5 days later than usual. Despite being a weekday, as Thursday, from even early morning, many visitors were around enjoying the onset of spring.
This is my first day here, and this is a very beautiful place to see the flowers, and there's no such a big place like in Taiwan, so yeah, I'm very enjoying it.
Until last week, the weather was a bit cold, so even if the flowers bloomed, it would have been difficult to enjoy them. But now that the weather has warmed up and the flowers are in full bloom, it's even nicer to come out and see them.
Many cherry blossom spots nationwide had planned festivals for the end of March. The Yeouido Cherry Blossom Festival was also originally scheduled to start on March 29th and end of April 4th. However, due to the late blooming, a change in plans became necessary.
Seoul city officials announced that they would extend traffic restrictions on nearby roads in Yeouido until next Monday, April 8th.
Facilities such as shelters for picnics, photo zones and temporary health centers set up for the festival will also remain open until then, providing convenience and rest spaces for visitors. The Korea Meteorological Administration has forecast that, despite the weather having had a significant impact so far, people will be able to enjoy cherry blossoms in full bloom this weekend. For those who want to know the best spots to enjoy the stunning views, use Exit 1 of National Assembly Station or Exit 2 of Yeouido Station and Subway Line 5. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
Staying with plants, the tallest tree in South Korea is a Ginkgo tree on Yongmun Mountain in Gyeonggi-do Province. The precise age of the tree and other scientific information about it have remained unknown until now, but researchers here have digitally modeled the tree, revealing its secrets for the first time. Our Chung Eun-ju has more.
A ginkgo tree on Yongmunsan Mountain in Yangpyeong-gun, Gyeonggi-do Province is regarded as the tallest tree in South Korea. However, there has never been any scientific examination of the tree's physical characteristics until now. South Korean researchers have uncovered information about the ginkgo tree by digitally modeling it. The researchers utilized LiDAR used in unmanned vehicles to measure information about the ginkgo tree and create its digital twin.
By emitting laser light and analyzing the reflected information, we can acquire various information such as distance, movement direction, speed, position, and surrounding environment in a 3D format.
As a result, the height of the Yongmunsan Mountain ginkgo tree was found to be 38.8 meters, equivalent to about 13 stories of an apartment building. The total weight of the tree is 97.9 tons, comparable to the weight of about 69 medium-sized cars. The biggest question, the age of the tree, has also been revealed. Using the method of measuring the age of old trees, the calculated result was 1,018 years.
By applying the growth information analyzed with LiDAR to the age estimate database of old trees at the Korean National Institute of Forest Science, the tree's age was found to be 1,018 years. This dates back to the Goryeo Dynasty period in 1007 AD.
The annual carbon dioxide absorption capacity of the Yongmunsan Mountain ginkgo tree was 113 kilograms, equivalent to the amount absorbed annually by 11 50-year-old Mongolian oak trees. Chung Eun-ju, Arirang News.
In other news, Subways with very high speeds underground may help people travel more quickly, but accident prevention and disaster preparedness become that much more important. A team of Korean researchers have now developed a robot that can quickly recognize disasters like fire or flooding and even help passengers evacuate. Yoon has the details.
This is the GTX-A, the Seoul Metropolitan Express Railway, which became fully operational on March 30th. It travels 50 meters underground at roughly 180 kilometers per hour, which means people will be able to travel from Dongtan to Suseol in 20 minutes. Demand for such high-speed railways is increasing as they shorten commute times and help travelers avoid traffic congestion. But this also means that disaster preparedness becomes of utmost importance. Unlike tunnels on the roads, these railway tunnels do not have CCTV cameras, which makes it difficult for control rooms to check for accidents underground. But a team of domestic researchers have developed a smart robot that can not only move along the ceiling of the tunnel, but it can also quickly detect various disaster situations and even help passengers evacuate. The robot's artificial intelligence function allows it to quickly analyze videos taken by the cameras to notify the control room of any accidents. Then the robot arrives at the site within 5 minutes to help the passengers to a safer location.
If the robots travel at 20 kilometers per hour and are installed 3 kilometers apart, they can arrive at any site within 5 minutes. That way, it can patrol the overall situation on the tracks and detect any abnormal signs.
The robot is detachable, making it very easy to install, and all its parts are heat resistant up to 250 degrees Celsius, making it possible to function even in case of fire. The research team will continue to upgrade the robot's AI analysis technology and further test its actual application in railway tunnels. Yoon, Arirang News.
Even though today is Cheongmyeong in the lunar calendar, meaning that the sky will gradually clear up, the sky was not clear today nationwide. But highs in Seoul soared up to 20 degrees Celsius, showing warm spring weather. As daytime temperatures rose today, the atmosphere became unstable and rain has been falling throughout the inland areas. Looking at the amount of rain, Jeollabuk-do province will receive 5 to 40 millimeters, 5 to 20 in Chungcheongnam-do and Jeollanam-do provinces. Other inland areas will have less than 5 millimeters of light rain until dawn tomorrow. As rain clouds become strong locally, there may be places with strong rain of around 20 millimeters per hour. Tomorrow morning, Seoul and Busan will start off at 10 degrees. Daily highs will move up to 18 in Seoul, Daejeon, and Chuncheon, Gyeongju, Busan, and Jeju, 17 degrees Celsius. It will be warm as the daytime temperatures increase, but temperature swings will be large, so the chilly weather will continue in the morning and evening. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is all for this newscast. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 10 p.m. with the AI headline news. Good night.